Hello and welcome to Technophile, the show that talks about all things that are digital with our digital media columnist Francis Pisani. The question on everyone's lips, have you put in for your complimentary holster to resolve problems with the iPhone 4?
It is called a bumper, but I don't have an iPhone 4, so I didn't have to apply for that. What's interesting is that 66% of the people who use an iPhone, who have an iPhone, said they would delay their buying of an iPhone 4 because of the problem. So what is the problem? The problem is this. If you see on my screen there, you will see that there is when you touch this part of the iPhone, it blocks the antenna. So basically the problem, you cannot hold the phone like that, which is the easiest way or the most common way to use your phone. By the way, and let's talk about...
And that's why they're calling it antenna gate.
Well, they are calling it antenna gate, that's correct. There is a problem with antennas in some phones. On the BlackBerry, this is a page done by Apple, you cannot touch it there, it's a problem there. And on the HTC Droid, when you touch it there, the difference between those two cases is that you would never hold your phone with the thumb down and the fingers up, the index up, and not very much, you would not touch the button part of it too often. The problem with the iPhone 4 is that it is the most common way of holding the phone, which creates a problem.
Now, the news cycles like to build people up to then tear them down. Steve Jobs seemed to have the Midas touch, and then last Friday, press conference, he says, well, nobody's perfect. Does he still have as many disciples as he did before that press conference?
He has sold many iPhone, more than any other phone in the first week period, 3 million. The problem is that calls are dropped in about 1% of the cases, not an extraordinary figures. The problem is the image. So first, Apple says and does wonderful products. They are not perfect. And the problem is that Steve Jobs said we're not perfect. He didn't say, I apologize. And Steve Jobs is a very arrogant person. So the first thing he did, the first thing Apple did was to say, don't hold the phone that way, which is not a proper answer. Then they said, it's only a problem of software. And finally on Friday, they recognized it was a problem of hardware. But he should have apologized.
One final question on this. Is people's choice of a mobile phone akin to talking about religion? Have you found that out, Francis Pisani, that there are Apple lovers and it's impossible to have a conversation with them, and Apple haters, same thing?
It is impossible to have a conversation with people who have a religious attitude. The problem is that there is a problem of image, and I think there are two very serious problems behind that. First, he has tried to apply the beta version, which works on software, on hardware. You cannot do that on hardware because you cannot change the hardware very easily. And second, behind this, there is an issue of what will Apple be when Steve Jobs is gone. And we should not forget that the iPhone 4 was developed mainly when Steve Jobs was not there. And still he validated the choice of the antenna because he liked the design, and he has a problem.
All right. In a previous column, Francis Pisani, you mentioned how social networking sites are at the mercy of whether or not teenagers or young people think they're cool. Today, you bring to us a concept that could take a little bit more of the cool out of Facebook. We're talking an important safeguard here.
So it works in the UK, and it's an agreement between Facebook and the Child Protection Agency. They have installed you can install what is called a panic button. So it is suggested to all the users who are between 13 and 18. You can download it and have it on your page. You can share it with your friend. What it does, when you click, it alerts both Facebook and the Child Protection Agency. There is another indirect implication.
So it's not the parents in any way that you get to use this panic button. No. It's the kids themselves.
It's the kids themselves. The parents can ask their kid to do it if they want. And there is a deterrent factor. If a child molester sees that on a child, page, he might not go there because he will know, or she will know, more often that there is the possibility to alert a protection agency.
So it's something you recommend?
I am not a kid, although if you look at my page, you will see that I could download it. I think that the basic issue is education. And if this device allows parents to have a conversation with their kids and to think about it, and the kids to think about the issue, I think it's a very interesting idea, not the solution to everything.
Because there's still a lot of people out there who give way too much information on those social networking site pages.
There are two extremes. People who give too much information, and I think kids are more careful than we tend to think, and people who forbid to their kids the use of Facebook because of fear, and I think this is not a solution. You have to leave them open. It's the same thing as crossing a street. You have to teach your kids how to cross a street and how to use Facebook or MySpace or Bebo or whatever.
All right, Francis Pisani, your pick of the week.
The pick of the week is Cool Iris, which is a website that allows you to see pictures and images in a much more in a nicer fashion. I am showing what you find on the website, and I'm going to show what you can find, for instance, on my computer. These are some images I have used on my blog. I can blow it and see it in
so
full page.
You can enlarge the images that are on your blog.
I can image the images. I can go there. And if you go, I will show you something else. If I go, for instance, I go on Flickr, which is an image site. I'm interested in Place de Furstenberg, which is a beautiful place in Paris, as you can see. And when I put my pointer on this, I see these small screens. I click on it, and then I have on that the images of Place de Furstenberg. My connection or my computer is a bit slow today. Here they go. And you can see I can go take a distance, zoom in, and I will show, if I click this, for instance, I can go and see the website where it comes from, which is a Flickr image. You can follow the news. For instance, this is the news. There is the news on science and technology, which is what we are trying to follow. And for instance, if I click here, I can enlarge, and I have an access to the newspaper, Le Monde in this case, which published the picture.
And are applications like this one heavy on the hard drive of the computer?
My computer is not very powerful. It's a MacBook Air. It's light, so it's very convenient. It's not very powerful, and you have seen it's in real time. There is nothing hidden behind that. So I think it works well. It's a web-based application. You may, in certain circumstances, and maybe in Africa and places where you have a problem of connection, it may be a difficult use. But in what we call,
but it's web-enabled, so it's not heavy on the computer,
and it works well in my experience. In many cases.
Francis Pisani, many thanks. Thank you for joining us. That's it for this edition of Technophile.